If your cat is refusing to respond to your verbal commands, you are certainly not alone. Many cat owners deal with this concern, at least at some stage in ownership, and it's all the more common in the early days of the journey. New people and a new cat, a brand new playbook with new voices and new commands. If you're having trouble getting your cat's attention, and perhaps more times than not, you feel like you're just talking to hear your own voice, you could begin to blame yourself. You could start to wonder, is this cat ownership thing, is it really for me? Let me assure you that the majority of this concern, it's not on you, especially if you're truly making a positive effort, calming your nerves and hopefully leading you in the right direction. Here are just a few reasons why your commands could be falling on deaf whiskers. If you're a regular around these parts, this channel, I mentioned this in related videos, but it's vital to understand that most cats are quite different than dogs when it comes to the verbal side of life. Whether you're calling your cat's name or just making a general effort to get your feline's attention and then get them to walk on over to you, cats don't absorb our words with the same gusto compared to that of canines. Cats don't associate their names with action. A dog you could call for Bob the Golden Retriever, and there's a good chance he'd come running to be right by your side before you could get out another word. Names with action. Words directed at your dog. It's action. Dogs are hardwired to take commands, accept commands, listen up for commands. Cats is just a different ball game. They're not wired to follow instruction in that way. They're wired to look after themselves and listen to their own instincts rather than the human voice. If your cat's not responding, especially in those early days of ownership, it's not your fault. Your cat, they're just being a cat, and your voice, your words. Your pet will warm up to things once they start to warm up to you. And speaking of your words, don't get too caught up in exactly what you're saying. Focus more on how you're saying those words and commands. Audience, back me up on this one. I think it's safe to say that we talk to our pets in a very different tone compared to how we speak with our family and friends. For most of us, some version of baby talk comes to the surface. We alter our voice, alter our tone, and it's just how it goes, really. And for the most part, it's likely not even an intentional thing. It just happens. So with that said, your tone, if you're struggling to get your cat's attention, pay attention to your tone. Make it unique. Over time, your cat will know that the tone you're using, it's only for them. Let them come to understand that you aren't just speaking, you're speaking to them. Your cat will become more inclined to at least get the memo in that regard. Your pet will never truly respond to you if they're receiving mixed signals. The goal is to make sure that your pet knows that your tone, it's just for them. Your words, your commands. Wrap them in uniqueness and see where that takes you. And then in terms of moving forward, the sound of your voice, it's far more important to your pet than what you're actually saying. Is it possible that your cat is refusing to respond because they're super lazy? Do cats, at least at times, do they need more than words, more than cute vocal tones to get them in motion? Actually, the answer could be yes, especially if you're a new owner and your cat is still in the process of trying to build that level of trust with you. Cats, they often need to be coaxed. This is why whenever you see a cat in a tree, a cat under a car, and just generally in a spot where they really shouldn't be, that could be a bit dangerous, there's a respectable chance that you'll see the owner and perhaps a group of people trying to coax said cat with treats, with toys, a fresh, brand new distraction, calling a cat, and that being the end of the story. Many times that just won't be enough. At least when that bond of trust is still cooking in the oven, it'll take more than your vocals. Your pet, they need a reason to put that car in gear. They need a payoff at the end of all of this. This is why some cats won't respond to commands, but if you rattle that container of treats, they'll come running. They'll come running to get right to you. What's in it for me, says the cat. Verbal commands, cats are very sneaky, and those vocals can fall short without some type of in-game reward. Very early in this video I said, none of this is your fault. You just need to understand feline behavior. And that's certainly true. However, I also spoke about making a positive effort. And here's the question. Are you dropping the ball at times? Do you know the skills, but you're just not putting in the work, as much work as you should, perhaps? Has your cat brushed you off, and now you're just feeling discouraged with the whole thing and defeated as an owner? It can happen. And this leads to, unfortunately, it leads to continued failure. And it's now more difficult than ever to get your cat's attention. Your vocal tone, the incentives for a job well done. This needs to be a daily trial until your cat begins to gel with you. Understanding what you want, and for you, understanding what it takes for your pet to respond to your liking, to your approval, the way you want them to respond. It's like a sport. It takes practice. Don't stop when you get it right. Keep going until you can't get it wrong. Cats that respond to their owners, it's like second nature when you see it. Cats that do just this, well, it didn't happen overnight. Continue to work with your cat. Know the do's and the don'ts, and then put the positives into practice on the regular, because it's all about being consistent. And as we round things out for this topic, the final point I want to address is, in many ways, quite similar to the initial point, noting how dogs respond to commands compared to that of felines. If your cat just isn't responding, it could very well be a situation of your own expectations, perhaps. Your cats, they hear you, they're listening, and instead of walking over to you when they hear their name called, they could just give you a quick glance over. Here again, it's all about action and the disconnect the cats can't have with a human voice. Listening, it doesn't always add up to a sense of urgency for your pet. Your cat, they could be giving you a response to each and everything you say. It's just very subtle, and probably not the response you're truly looking for. Just remember that it could take a while before your cat associates the sound of your voice, and even their very own name, with a call to action. Some on-the-job training will be required, as felines are simply not hardwired to display a body in motion each and every time you call for them. To close things out, I'd like to add some tips that could help you along this journey as you attempt to get your cat up and about and as responsive to your commands as possible. Earlier on, I spoke of positive reinforcement, treats, petting session, anything that your cat views as a positive, and incentive to move. Your cat, they'll file it away as a positive association. Moving forward, they'll be more likely to respond simply because they're expecting that payoff. Another tip, I mentioned voice tone and changing your voice to make it a unique sound and tone for them. But what about word selection? Use words that your cats find familiar. If your cat associates a series of words with a command, they'll be more likely to act. They'll understand that you're not just talking to them, but you're giving them somewhat of an order. And what about duration? You don't need a lengthy address here, just short, sweet, and to the point. Keep it simple and keep it familiar. And finally, the voice tone, set words. Don't just throw them around randomly during the course of the day. In short, don't use that style in your cat's presence unless you mean it. Using it so freely, this can confuse your pet, it can trick them and leave some uncertainty. Once you have your game plan, and once your cat starts to understand that plan, save that playbook for game day. Don't use it at random times. To the audience of Senior Cat Wellness, anything you'd like to add to this topic? General thoughts, your personal stories? That comment section. As always, it's all yours. Thanks so very much for watching, and we'll talk to you later.